Part 1. You will hear a conversation between a science teacher, Nora, and an educational officer, Colin, about a school trip to a natural history museum. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Good afternoon. This is Nora Williams, a science teacher at Greenfield Middle School. I'm planning a field trip to your Natural History Museum. Can you provide me with some details?
Hello, Nora. I'm Colin, the educational officer here. I'd be delighted to assist. Let's start with the general layout of the museum. We have 3 designated zones: a fossil excavation area, 3 dinosaur halls, and a scavenger hunt zone specifically for children.
That sounds exciting. Could you tell me more about what each of these sections covers?
Sure. In the fossil excavation area, students will actively participate in exercises that involve digging for fossils. They'll learn how paleontologists search for and uncover fossils, making it a hands-on experience.
I think the kids will love that. What about the dinosaur hall?
The dinosaur hall is divided into sections based on historical periods: the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. Each section features notable dinosaurs from that era, complete with life-sized models and informative displays.
Do you have any unique fossils from the Triassic period?
Yes, we do. In the Triassic section, we've got a rare fossil of Coelophysis, known for being one of the earliest dinosaurs. There's also an interactive display illustrating the evolution of early reptiles.
That sounds fascinating. And in the Jurassic section, I imagine there are some of the more well-known dinosaurs?
Absolutely. The Jurassic section features popular dinosaurs like Stegosaurus and the massive Brachiosaurus. We even have a robotic T-Rex that shows the movements and sounds they might have made.
A robotic T-Rex would definitely captivate the students. What about the Cretaceous period?
The Cretaceous section includes the famous Triceratops and Velociraptor. We also focus on the rich plant life and the changing ecosystems of that time, with an exhibit highlighting the diverse flora that existed alongside the dinosaurs.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer the questions 8 to 10.
I like how interactive it all sounds. What would you say are the benefits for students attending this museum?
Visiting the museum offers numerous benefits. It provides a connection to prehistoric life, which might be less interesting if students just read about this topic in textbooks.
It definitely sounds like there has been a lot of thought put into the displays, and I think students would gain from that.
Yes, many visitors tell us that the museum stimulates curiosity and excitement about science, especially after taking part in the scavenger hunt.
Great. Now, could you share the practical elements involved in planning this visit for a group of students?
Absolutely. The cost is £6.50 per student for groups of 20 or more, which includes all activities and access to all museum sections. There's no charge for teachers and adult chaperones.
Thank you, Colin. This information is very comprehensive. I'll discuss these details with my colleagues and we'll decide on a date soon.
That sounds excellent. Feel free to contact me if you have any other questions. I look forward to hosting your students at the museum. Goodbye.
Thanks again, Colin. Goodbye.
Part 2. You will hear a spokesperson from Bath City Council talking about their twinning with Aix-en-Provence, which is a cooperation between sister cities. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Hello, everyone. Today, I'm here to talk to you about the twinning relationship between Bath, a historic city nestled in the southwest of England, and Aix-en-Provence, a picturesque town located in the south of France. The concept of town twinning began to take shape in the aftermath of World War II, primarily around 1947, as a means to foster peace and understanding between former adversaries. The very first arrangement, however, was established earlier, in 1944, between Coventry in England and Stalingrad during the war. Building on this foundation of international cooperation, the partnership between Aix-en-Provence and Bath was established in 1977, with the primary goal of promoting cultural exchange and strengthening international ties. Since its inception, the twinning has achieved several major milestones. One of the significant accomplishments is the joint organization of art exhibitions, which have featured collaborative works from artists in both Bath and Aix-en-Provence. Though, perhaps the most notable achievement has been the development of an annual student exchange program, which has allowed young individuals from both cities to experience each other's cultures firsthand. Finally, the twinning has boosted tourism in both cities as they have been able to work closely with their local tourism boards to offer attractive packages to visitors. To commemorate this enduring relationship, the City of Bath created a friendship garden in one of Bath's public parks to symbolise the flourishing partnership between the two cities. Across the Channel, in Aix-en-Provence, they celebrated the twinning in their own unique style. They hosted a festival that showcased British music and theatre, offering residents and tourists a taste of British culture. Additionally, a symbolic sculpture was commissioned in the bustling town square to represent the enduring bond between the two towns. Over the years, when visiting Aix-en-Provence, guests from Bath have been warmly invited to participate in a variety of enriching activities. One of these experiences is the hands-on experience in the town's traditional ateliers, where visitors have learned from local artisans about Provençal art techniques. Of course, another activity that is always popular among Bath locals is the wine tasting sessions that have taken place in the region's globally renowned vineyards. Looking forward, the twinning has set several long-term goals aimed at strengthening the ties between these two communities. Firstly, they aim to foster educational exchanges by offering an annual scholarship program that allows students from each town to spend a semester studying at a partner institution. Then, they also plan to cooperate on a sustainability project to expand public gardens and the use of low-carbon technology in each city. Lastly, they envision increasing the frequency and scope of cultural festivals which have been very popular until now.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer the questions 16 to 20.
Now let's talk about the next occasion when we will host our visitors from Aix-en-Provence. We are planning to take them through one of Bath's most renowned historical attractions, the Roman Baths. So, let me just introduce you to the main spots so that you can guide our guests when we visit the baths. We'll be meeting our guests next Saturday morning just outside the entrance of the venue. Once inside, our journey begins at the temple courtyard, and this is also where you will find the bronze gilt head of the deity, Sulis Minerva. On the other side of the entrance, in an adjacent room, is where you will see the temple pediment. Continuing on from here is the magnificent Great Bath, which serves as the largest pool in the complex. Although the area is now open air, it was originally covered by a roof constructed of pitched timber that required the support of a set of towering columns known as pillars. From here, you can make your way back toward the entrance, passing through the temple pediment to reach the sacred spring. This spot is located on the southeastern side of the venue, where the hot, mineral-rich waters first rise. What's more, it is here that you can learn about the ancient engineering that harnessed these miraculous waters. Now, heading up to the north of the complex is where you'll discover the West Bath that contains heated rooms and plunge pools. Notably, the West Baths include a set of tiles arranged to circulate hot air and heat the floors and walls. They are situated close to the exit, which is also where you can introduce our guests to the special station offering free tasters of the spa water drawn from the same hot springs that feed the baths. A true taste of history. We hope that this immersive experience will leave a lasting impression on our friends from Expo.
You will hear a conversation between two students, Harry and Amy, discussing their experiments. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
I found it really interesting working on some independent projects as we wrap up this sustainability course. It's been quite the experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. What have you been working on?
I've been doing an experiment on composting. I started by collecting food waste from the campus dining halls. Then I tested different methods to convert it efficiently into compost.
That sounds like a great way to tackle food waste. I would imagine that composting can contribute significantly to reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
Definitely. It's amazing to see waste that would have ended up in the landfill being transformed into nutrient-rich compost. We're hoping that we'll be able to use this compost for the university gardens. Ultimately, it would help enrich the soil and promote healthier plant growth.
That sounds like a really effective way to maintain the campus gardens.
So, what have you been exploring in your research project?
I've been looking into edible insects and alternative proteins. In particular, I've been experimenting with using different insects as a protein source.
Oh, that sounds neat. Why did you choose that topic?
I heard many sources claim that on top of the many environmental benefits associated with this food group, there are also nutritional benefits.
Right, I have actually heard that before too. How did it go?
Well, I did an experiment creating cricket flour muffins. It was challenging to make them appealing, but they're packed with nutrients.
I'm really curious about insects as food. What did people think when you introduced such an idea?
There was some initial resistance, as you'd expect, but once they tasted them and understood the nutritional benefits, the feedback turned positive.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now, listen carefully and answer the questions 25 to 30.
Now, let's talk about sustainability trends in the food industry. It seems like local and seasonal sourcing is already in widespread use. It's great for cutting down food miles and supporting local economies.
Absolutely. It's a common choice for eco-conscious consumers. Speaking of consumer choices, there's this concept of carbon footprint labeling, putting the carbon emissions of a product directly on its packaging. It might emerge as a popular trend in the future.
That sounds promising, though I did read that implementing it widely might be costly. Most experts say this could be too expensive, especially for smaller brands that might find the extra labeling complicated.
I can see that challenge. Also, have you heard about the push for edible insects and alternative proteins?
I have. There are initiatives where insects, like crickets, are processed into protein powders and other products. It's fascinating, but I think this could be unpopular among consumers because of cultural views.
Right, that might be a bit of a barrier.
The thing is, not everyone is ready to see insects on their plates. Anyway, what do you think about food waste composting?
Ah, yes. Many communities and companies are starting to set up systems to turn food scraps into compost. This practice is gaining popularity because it benefits the environment by reducing waste and returning nutrients to the soil.
Interesting. That does sound like it would reduce society's environmental impact.
Let me see. What's your take on food transparency initiatives? You know, things like providing consumers with details about the origins of ingredients.
Oh, those are gaining traction. They would really change how supply chains operate and challenge traditional methods. Consumers want transparency. They want to know where the food comes from and how it was produced.
For sure. Also, with technology evolving, personalized nutrition is becoming more feasible. Companies are using genetic data to tailor dietary recommendations. Developments in technology should drive this trend, making personalized nutrition plans more accessible.
That makes sense. People love anything customized to their needs these days. It's exciting to think how these innovations will shape our food systems in the coming years.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating time in history.
You will hear a lecturer giving a talk to a group of archaeology students about the remarkable discovery of the Terracotta Army. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, the Terracotta Army. Discovered in 1974 in the Lintong district of Xi'an, China, this remarkable find links us directly to China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, who was also the founder of the Qin dynasty. Now, let's first consider the historical background. Qin Shi Huang, who reigned from 221 to 210 BCE, is well regarded for his achievements, including the unification of China. His expansive empire laid the foundation for centuries of Chinese history. His rule was marked by ambition and new ideas, especially his search for eternal life. This quest is clear in the building of his grand tomb, which was made to reflect his entire empire. Inside this tomb is where the terracotta army is found. The tomb was intended to protect him in the afterlife. Now, let us move on to discuss their discovery. In 1974, local farmers digging a well stumbled upon fragments of what would soon be recognized as the terracotta warriors. This accidental discovery triggered extensive archaeological investigations. Initially, people couldn't believe the discovery. However, this soon led to massive excavation projects supported by the Chinese government. Ultimately, the site turned out to be one of the largest archaeological finds in the world. Moving on to the excavation and preservation efforts that were required to uncover these magnificent relics. The excavation began in the late 1970s, uncovering thousands of life-size clay soldiers, along with chariots, horses, and an array of non-military figures, such as acrobats and musicians. These discoveries have provided incredible insights into the period's craftsmanship and social organization. However, as with many archaeological endeavors, there have been significant preservation challenges. The clay figures were initially painted in bright colors, which began to fade upon exposure to air. Therefore, the preservation of these original paintworks has posed a significant challenge. Yet, technological advancements, like improved restoration techniques and the input from international conservation experts, have played crucial roles in ongoing preservation efforts. Beyond preservation, the government decided to establish the Museum of the Terracotta Warriors and Horses, which has been influential in shaping humanity's understanding of these figures. This museum serves not only to preserve and display these artifacts, but also to educate the public and contribute to local tourism. It represents an essential bridge between past and present, showcasing these artifacts to millions around the world. Finally, let's understand more about the structure and cultural practices of the military during this period. The Terracotta Army shows how Qin dynasty soldiers were organized and the approach that they took during battles. For example, the way the soldiers are carefully arranged, along with their advanced weapons and armor, shows the smart military strategies used back then. Apart from military focus, archaeologists have also uncovered a wealth of information about the cultural significance of these figures. Firstly, each soldier has a unique face, which shows the great skill of the artists. It is this attention to detail that makes each figure look like a real person from the emperor's army. What's more, the different faces and clothes show the various jobs and ranks of the soldiers. All of this has allowed historians to gain a better understanding of the Qin dynasty's cultural values, especially their beliefs about the afterlife and the importance of burial art. In conclusion, the Terracotta Army not only marks an archaeological achievement, but also serves as a profound testament to China's rich heritage, influencing both our historical knowledge and cultural appreciation. Thank you for your attention today.
That is the end of part 4.